Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome for today's webinar. We are delighted to have you join us. On behalf of our organization, thank you for taking your time with us. So, before we start, I would like to briefly introduce our organization. Based at Thrissur district in Kerala, ATMA Foundation is a non-profit voluntary organization in the social sector dedicated to community development as well as empowerment of individuals and families. ATMA supports children, adolescents, youth, women, senior citizens, and the rural population mostly. While the brief introduction provides a brief glimpse into who we are, I encourage all participants to visit our website to learn more about our mission, ongoing projects, achievements, and how you can contribute to us. So, today's webinar has been designed to help participants gain deeper understanding of the topic and learn from an experienced expert in the field. We encourage participants to note down your questions in the YouTube live chat box. These questions will be addressed during the Q&A session at the very end. So now let's move forward. Before we hear from our expert speaker, let us get to know more about the person who will be guiding us through today's session. To introduce our distinguished speaker, I invite Ms. Leah.
Am I audible now? So, respected everyone, it's my privilege to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Arun Dixit. He is the head of the Design Innovation Center at Vigyan Ashram, an institute known for its work in grassroots innovation and rural technology. Sir holds a PhD in chemistry from ICT Mumbai and has dedicated his career to fostering innovation, design, thinking, and entrepreneurship among students and rural communities. At Vigyan Ashram, he leads initiatives that bridge the gap between classroom learning and real-world problem solving, innovators and job creators. We are truly honored to have Dr. Dixit sir with us today to share his insights on innovation and entrepreneurship. So, sir, on behalf of ATMA, we welcome you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Should we start? Basically, we'll start this slideshow and start sharing our. Yeah. Good evening to everybody. I'm Arun Dixit speaking, and I represent Vigyan Ashram. Vigyan Ashram is an NGO, and Vigyan Ashram Technology Foundation is another ATMA company with which we are working closely. And what we try to do is we learn through the projects or we learn through the problems which are there in the society. And typically, since we are situated in the rural area, we always say that we talk about the rural problems. So learning methodology at Vigyan Ashram, Pabal, goes as training through socially useful productive work. How do you get to the productive work, or how do you get to the project itself? Is there is an absence of development in the community. That means there is a problem, there is either a need or there is aspiration which you are looking forward to, and that becomes a project. And for that we follow some technology, and I will come to that in a while. Now, when you have a problem and when you are trying to solve the real life problem or trying to give a solution to a real life problem, it becomes real life automatically. So it's not something like a classroom session. It's not something which is already solved problem, and you are trying to do a practical and trying to learn out of doing that. So it's a fresh thing for you, and it's basically there is the path itself are not very clear or known to you. That many times becomes a future business opportunity, and I will take you through a couple of slides and couple of entrepreneurs example how it really became a future business and what level of business one could build out of it, and last couple of years what we could do out of it. There are, if when you come to the business, there are some businesses we describe as me too businesses. When we talk about a me too business, means there is a poultry and there is a demand for chicken or chicken meat. So obviously I can set another poultry, and when I set another poultry unit, I am a me too business, so I compete with the people who are already there in the market, and that's how it goes forward too. Whereas there are possibilities where we get into the business which is totally new, because which is not been addressed by many, and in that case we say that we have a future business. And I will come, definitely there needs a technical innovation, there needs understanding of the problem, there needs a empathy of a customer or end user, and there needs lot of ideation, and we'll talk a little bit about all those topics, and prototyping, of course. Now when you say that you are giving a service, and when I come to the left hand side of, so when you do that, there are a lot of learning opportunities. Now all these learning opportunities or hands-on activity becomes a research problem, and that leads to a relevant education. The only pitfall in the whole system is, I don't say it's a pitfall, but then many of you can feel that as a pitfall, and many of you will feel that I'm an engineer in a typical stream, or I have learned a typical course during my degree or during my post graduation, and then I don't know something. Problem does not recognize you are a chemical engineer, or you are a mechanical engineer, or you are a IT guy, or you are a um, cyber security person. That is not what a problem or a need or a pain area can understand it. A pain area is a pain area, and there you may need lot of interdisciplinary studies or interdisciplinary knowledge to solve that problem, and that what is very different the way we do at Vijnan Ashram, and that happens at a conventional uh, universities or colleges. How we work at Vijnan Ashram, we have a Design Innovation Center at Vijnan Ashram, DIC, and I head that division. We have product design course, we have sensor technology, we work a little bit on sensor technology, we work a lot on microbiology, and I can tell you the how microbiology problems lead to us and how we tackle them. There are environmental problems, like how we deal with the garbage management, how do we deal with the agriculture waste, how we also deal with the wastewater treatment or a grey water treatment, or even drinking water treatment, and all those things. So there are different. These are the four different areas, and we like this is for the sake of writing that these are the areas. We do not look at it in that way. We look at there is a pain, pain, and there is aspiration, and there is a need, and hence there is a possibility of intervention. And when you get into that intervention, it leads to project, and when there is a project, there is a ample opportunity to learn. So university affiliated colleges, first thing is we look at the community need. It could be many times we find it, many times the student can find it, but that leads to student projects. And there could be ideas from faculty, there could be ideas from the scientists, there could be ideas coming in a different ways, and all those ideas we took it to the proof of concept. So what we do at the Design Innovation Center, which leads to entrepreneurship, is there is a problem and we identify the problem. Who identify problem is also important. How do you understand that problem is much more important. So we spend a lot of time understanding the problem. Once you understand the group which has a problem, then you know their pain area much better, and once you know that, you can define it in a very precise way. Upon a definition of a problem comes the ideation, and then once you start ideating something, we all generally say that there are a couple of ideas has to come for a solution, and then only the problem, then only we jump down to a single idea. Typically, when somebody is very young and very, very enthusiastic and relatively less experience, the first idea which stuck to you, you feel that this is the idea and I want to work on that. And then immediately what you do is you start with your screwdriver, or you start with your hacksaw, or you start with your computer, or you start with something which is doable and jump to the action mode immediately. What we try to hold students at that is, hold on, what are other solutions available in market? Is it that this is the problem came for the first time, and we are the first amongst the living mankind to know that there is a problem exists this way, and then we say that no, this problem exists for a couple of years, couple of decades. And when we say that the problem exists for a couple of years or couple of decades, then we know that somebody must have worked on that. So what are the different solutions which are already implemented? And what are the pitfalls of those solutions, and what are the different possibilities of the ideation which can do about it? And then I'm going to take you through a course of action where we say that there a course of project, and let you know that how it works. Now, when people come to the to DIC Hub Center of a Pune University or DIC Spoke Center at Vijnan Ashram, we offer them fellowship, which gives them which gives them a chance to work on idea which they can work for the entrepreneurship. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples where there are people who joined us saying that this is what we wanted to do, or this is the idea I want to take it to market, or this is the product I want to take it to market. And then we help them to develop their own product and their own entrepreneurship model. We also are connected with the expertise from different universities, typically ICT, because I am PhD from ICT. We have good connections there. We have a very good connection with IIT Bombay. We have connection being in Pune. We have connection with College of Engineering Pune, COEP Pune, and then Pune University and couple of private engineering colleges around us. And we are also connected with a lot of industrial experts. We have connection with Eton people. We have connections with SolidWorks people. We are also very well connected with Tata Group and Tata Motors and TCS and all those. So we can sometimes when we don't know things, we can go to the expert. Most of the time we don't have to do that. Most of the time it's ChatGPT or Google can help you a lot to understand the problem and to understand the different possible solutions. And then once that is been done, we develop a idea that is a proof of concept. That what the last blue boxes at the bottom are showing you. If I have to take cursor, it is here. Idea to the POC. Once you get idea to POC, now idea to POC is just a POC. That's a proof of concept that this idea in principle can work. This is not a marketable product. This is still a prototype, and a prototype is not something which you can sell it in a market. So developing a prototype to a sellable product needs lot of technology interventions, and I'm going to talk to a bit, maybe 5-10 minutes about that also. And that ultimately leads to a business model. We also do some hand holding on the business model. How do you get licenses? How do you approach people? What should be the marketing strategy? And we have a EDP, entrepreneur development cell, and we help them in those respects also. Now I'm going to take you through couple of technologies which are developed at Vijnan Ashram by our DIC students, and I can tell you that almost all of them are engineers. I'm not saying that all of them are IT engineers or all of them are professional from software and all that. Okay, but these because when people start talking about tech project, they always talk about website development, they talk about app development, and what I am going to show you is not app development. I'm going to show you something which is related to chemistry, something which is related to mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and the real life problem in reality. This is the problem which I'm going to tell you, going to talk about you, and we are working on that. This is not the complete project, so it's away from success, and we are still working on that. And I choose that as a first slide to discuss with you because that will tell you how we walk through the project. What is this? Let's understand what project we are talking about. This is a grain in disinfection unit that works on the principle of a vibration and a heat transfer. So on the where it is written as grain disinfection unit, what you can see is there are a couple of trays, one beneath the other, and then the grain particles travel from the first tray to second tray, and the whole system is vibrating continuously. There is a motor here. The motor has a shaft. The shaft has an eccentric load. Because of the eccentric load, this motor starts vibrating. Once the motor starts vibrating, obviously what happens is the whole frame starts, this inner frame starts vibrating. Hence the tray starts vibrating. This whole unit is kept under a hot chamber, and the chamber is at a temperature of 65 to 70 degrees centigrade. So you have a hot air, and the grains are jumping in the hot air up and down. Because of the jumping, the every grain particle has get exposed to hot air in a different on a different dimension. So every particle jumps, and so it floats in the air for a certain time. When that happens, the grain becomes hot, and when grain becomes hot, the insect which is there in the grain becomes hot and die. And that's what is the principle. The basic system was been developed by, or the idea is been floated by Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai. And they said that this technology is ready, and this technology is available, and we purchased the technology package under Akriti. And when we started working on that, and when we realized that, and then we also and then we did it, and it was there on our website for a couple of years. And suddenly somebody from Sambhajinagar, it used to be referred as Aurangabad in Maharashtra, and there is a military campus there. We call it Chhauni. So somebody from Chhauni uh, approached us saying that we see a interesting unit which is used for the grain insect disinfection. So is it available for us to use or to purchase? And then we started looking at, and then I had a talk with some military officers, and we said that yes, we have a unit and it's working condition, but it's not a unit which we can install at your place. It was looking very shabby. The trees were made of MS, and they were coated with red oxide, and we felt that this is not something which we want to put it at the military campus for even as a field trial. So we decided to go with a little better unit, and we went into the depth of understanding that how it works. Now, let me repeat it again. I told you what is the principle, and now I am telling you what is the depth of it. And that is something which is very, very important when you say that your POC is ready or your proof of concept is ready. The question is, grain gets hot and insect gets killed. Both are true. Now, what you are trying to kill? Are you trying to kill insect? That means adult insect. Are you going to kill a larva? Are you going to kill the eggs, or all three of them? These are the questions at came to our mind at the first place. Then the next question came immediately is which insects? When we started talking about which insects, then then obvious question came to us was which grains? And then since we have a customer in front of us who was talking to us from Sambhajinagar, we called them and said that, sir, which you have problem with which grains? And they said that we don't have much problem with wheat and rice. Rice, absolutely no problem. Wheat, there is a little problem. The major problem is with what we call is dal, chana dal. No, how you call it in English? I don't know. Basically ligaments. So there, which are protein rich Now the next question which we thought, that which are the insects which are very common in this. So we started looking at that, and then came to what is the temperature required to kill this insect. Is it 35 degrees? Is it 75 degrees? Is it 45 degrees? And at 45 degrees, how long? And if at 60 degrees, how long? So the question starts changing. And when I say that we have a problem, the grain are infected, and we want to disinfect them and store in a proper way. The question is, you need to understand what is little bit about entomology. How is their life cycle? How long is that? Now, obviously, you need to understand the life cycle, because if I want to do a testing, I should know that this typical insect grows in what way. What is the adult life? When they lay eggs, how long it takes for the eggs to hatch. Once the eggs hatch, the larva comes out, how long it takes for the larvas to become adult, and when the next adults again goes for the reproduction cycle of laying eggs, because that is the minimum time you require to test. So that when you go to the testing phase, you need to understand the insect life cycle. You also need to understand that how stubborn these insects are. The next thing which also comes is, where are the larvas, and where are the eggs laid. So once you start addressing a problem, you start getting into the insect science. Now the next question comes is, how do I transfer heat? What is the heater required? What is the wattage of that heater? The next question is, will this temperature hamper the nutritional value? And if you are talking about a nutritional value, will it be protein or will it be carbohydrate? Or will it be? So there are questions. Now you started getting into the very, very different areas. Now you are not talking about just a fabrication. You are not talking about just cutting some trays and bridging. Obviously, that is definitely required. So you need welding skills. You also need to have, or you at least need to know that where you can get it welded, where such vendors are available, who sells steel, how do I get trades, what is the depth of the trade, what is the vibration frequency, what is the retention time. So I'm trying to tell you that there are n number of questions which are raised when you started about ideation. So even before ideation, understanding the problem itself took a reasonable time. Once you understood the problem, you need to define it. When you define it, these are the design parameters you are talking about. When I say define the problem, you are talking about the design parameters. You are also talking about the end parameters, saying that my grain should reach X temperature. Let's say in our case, we were talking about a temperature of 55 to 60 degrees, and the core of the grain should reach that temperature. And when I say the core of the grain reach that temperature, that means the surface of the grain reaches some temperature. The heat is transferred from the surface to core, and I need to understand what is the rate transfer heat. So we are now talking about the conductivity of wheat or a conductivity of chana dal. So these are very, very different parameters one has to study when you are saying that we are developing technology. On one side, you are talking about the motor wattage, the asymmetric forces, and ultimately, after doing all that, what we realize it when we have at 60 degrees of internal temperature of a cabinet, our motor outer surface has reached 75 degrees, because there is an internal friction. And then the question came is, if the motor has reached to 70 degrees, the internal of motor must be at 125 to 155. So on a continuous operation, will this motor stand? So do I need to change the motor, and do I need to look at the different specification of this motor, or do I need to take this motor outside the cabinet? So so what I'm trying to tell you all throughout is, the concept could be very, very simple, saying that there is a vibration, there is a heat treatment, and hence the insect gets killed. But then that throws n number of sub questions to you, and every sub question can further get divided to another 4 5 questions. Where we stand on this instrument after 4 months of working, where we stand on this instrument. We initially thought that if we reach at 55 to 60 degrees in between, then we need a retention time of average 4 minutes. So we said that if it is average 4 minutes, let's target for 8 minutes, and we said that within 8 minutes grain should come down, and our whole focus was based on that we should adjust the traits, their inclination or their surface roughness in such a way that the trait should the grain should take 8 minutes to reach bottom. And when we achieved that, we thought that we have done a marvelous job. And then we realized that the grain by that time reached only 48 degrees centigrade, and core maybe at 45 degrees centigrade or 42 degrees centigrade. And it's my guess that the core of a wheat grain may be at 45 or it may be at 42 degrees centigrade. And if I have to disinfect the grain at say 45 degrees centigrade, then I need to hold grain at that temperature for 90 hours. That means whatever the design we have made is not going to work. Now the question has started that why it takes 8 minutes to reach the temperature to 42 degrees centigrade, and how much time it takes from the surface to the core. And when we looked at the literature, the surface to core can take 40 seconds, whereas heater to the surface took 8 minutes. How do we change it? Then we started getting into the heat absorption mechanism, how the radiation works, how conduction works, how convection works, how do you make heat transfer, and the whole different area. So at a stage we were talking about entomology, we were talking about science of insect. At some stage we were talking about mechanical engineering, where how do you select motor. At some stage we were talking about heat transfer rate. At some stage we were talking about the market, where we'll get from where we procure this steel material, how do you shape it, how do you weld it, and all those stuff. And now we are talking about a very different things. So the project goes through a different task or a different requirements, and every requirement teaches you something very very different. And that's how the prototype is built. And once a prototype is built, I will tell you how a prototype is built or a proof of concept is built, and how we move from a proof of concept to a industrial design or a sellable design. I took a little longer, and I did not give you a success story when we were talking about POs, when we were talking about a disinfector, thermal disinfector unit. And because that is a project going on, and obviously I don't want to tell you that we are done it. It may take another 6 months. And if it takes another 6 months, and if somebody works on that project and develop that technology, and we are keen to develop that technology, sometimes the same person can take it forward. Sometimes it's another person who picks that and convert that POC to a marketable product. So both things can happen, and we don't stop anybody doing that. So that is something, and that's how we'll have maybe 2 years down the line or 6 months down the line, we'll have somebody saying that, oh, I have a thermal disinfection unit, and with this unit I have captured so many order, and I have so much worth of a business, and I employed so many people. That's how the entrepreneurship moves, and this is VTD or vibro-thermal disinfector. It is a very early stage of it. Now I'm talking about a dryer, which is a very different technology. This is a flatbed dryer where there is an inclined plane which is which has a double layer polycarbonate sheets. Obviously, it gives you a greenhouse effect, and then there is a direct exposure of a sunlight to the substrate or a drying material, and that's how it works. And we do make this, and we do sell it in the market. Right now the product is not completely sellable, or it has not been transferred to entrepreneur because there was no entrepreneur to take it further. Now we have identified one entrepreneur who wants to work in the space of dryers, and we'll work with him to develop a complete entrepreneur who is working on the dryer. But this definitely became a project for us, wherein there are at least couple of diploma students who got trained how to make drills and how to cut the channels and how to make a frame and how to do woodwork and all that. So that becomes a small hands-on training project all the time with us. This is the second project which I am talking about, and this we have installed at Nashik. We also have installed at Nandurbar and Khargone in Madhya Pradesh. Nandurbar is in Maharashtra, Adivasi area in Maharashtra. Nashik is a hometown. Nashik is my hometown and a nearby district headquarter to Pune, 150 kilometers northeast of Pune. And there was a lady. Her name is Nirmala Pawar, and she was looking for a. And then we install a tunnel dryer. Now the whole concept was we were looking for something which will not lose fragrance, which will not lose its color. So you want to dry something like pudina, you want to dry something like dhania, you want to dry something like methi. In all these cases, you are trying to do is you have a leafy vegetables, or you have moringa powder, or you have chiku. I don't know. These are the Hindi names probably. I don't sapota they call it another Hindi word. I don't know what it has been called in Malayalam. Okay, but then some fruits to be dried. So we worked on this project. We installed this project. There was a different idea in this. There was a black color tarpaulin cover. We selected a typical hemisphere sort of arrangement, where the upper part of the hemisphere in this particular model, there was directly the heat was being captured by the outer surface, and it is been emitted in the inner portion, and also there was a radiation emission and also convection which happens and which make the heat. We did all this. Then we went to Khargone, and Khargone also we established a 200 kgs dryer for chili dry. We had a small model here, which is again a dome shape, which is a metallic model, and there are trays inside. So this is another area of a drying. The third drying area in which we work was this is grape drying, and we have a complete full-fledged systems where we dried around 5,000 kgs of grapes in 2 batches. And one of the PhD student, you can see here the boy standing in a bluish shirt. My cursor is there. He is a PhD student from ICT, and when he has conceptualized the concept, we at Vignan Ashram has built a full scale dryer and tested it to prove how his concepts are working in the field. So we do all that. So this is about drying and typically solar drying. There is an entrepreneur which we work. He's 50 kilometers away from that, and there was a news article which got published, and this is industrialist in Pune entrepreneurship developed with a consultation with Vignan Ashram. And you can see on this side there is a dryer which we have. A similar dryer was also been established at his farm, and it is being used. So we have trays which can be pushed inside. This upper portion of the dryer just collects heat. The air enters from these pipes inside. There are 4 pipes in the 4 corner in the 4 directions, and there is a pipe at the center which throws hot air to this lower portion of the dryer, and then that hot air comes out and it continuously moves from top to bottom. It's not bottom to top, it's a reverse direction flow, because the heat cannot be captured at bottom. Heat has to be captured at the top because sun is exposing it. Lot many calculations have been done. How much is the radiation available? What is the best material which will absorb? What is the best material which will emit? Can we have two different materials which will emit and transfer heat by conduction to the inner material, and the inner material can emit a different wavelength of infrared light? and hence useful for the radiation. Lot many things, very basic fundamental physics and engineering was been taught, and then we developed this dryer. This dryer was typically developed for chili drying, where chili losses goes to something like 30% during the drying of 15 days. There are a couple of reasons why the losses happens. Typically, chili harvesting starts in the month of September. And then it is September is winter. Beyond September to December, January is winter. Sun is available at the same time. Fog, it also fogs early in the morning, and this fog early in the morning leads to a dew, and which is deposited on the chili which are on the open ground, and that dew slowly percolates down. So at the bottom of a chili bed you have water layer, and the top of the chili layer you have a lot of hot sun available. So that makes a very weird combination. The bottom becomes humid, top becomes hot, and then it becomes hot and humid combination, which leads to fungal infection. And to sort out that fungal infection, one has to put a lot of human labor, because it's physical sorting is been done, and also need to have material loss up to 30%. So we went with this project. We pitched this project to Department of Science and Technology. We got a funding for them, and we demonstrated that without even turning chilies, same surface area where people take 15 days to dry chili, we could dry those chilies in 3 working days without any additional manpower, and no turning is required, no sorting is required. So a technology can be developed, and when you develop technology, you also learn lot many things, and that what is Vijnana Ashram philosophy. Now this is another concept we started talking about, and we had a problem at Vijnana Ashram. Vijnana Ashram, the lab, the ladies' hostel has the sanitary napkins, and those disposal of the sanitary napkin was an issue. Initially, we went to the market to purchase sanitary napkin incinerator, and we had a very bad experience. Our own technology, which we have transferred to entrepreneur, when we bought it was leading to a lot of soot, and a lot of and then the energy used was the cost of energy used was equivalent to the cost of pad itself. So you purchase a pad at rate X, and you spend almost same amount to dispose that pad. So that was the limitation, and then we said that we want to have a pad incinerator for the sanitary napkins, and we had developed a sanitary napkin incinerator for ourselves, and then Siddhant was trying to get into the model. He got order from Jnana Prabodhini, Haryali for the 5, and then he delivered this unit there. We also had order for 60 pad capacity at ATMA Foundation, Pune, and we also made this pad incinerator for them. And now we have a third order, which is a nearby dumping ground, which in a small village, which collects around 50 to 100 pads every day, and now we are getting the third order. Still no entrepreneur, but then the technology is ready, and it has been demonstrated on ground. This is the fourth technology. Somebody got I don't know, Nitin's photo is not here. This is Nitin only at the center of the card, who is showing that this is Nitin Krishna. Nitin Krishna is a lawyer, and he pitched for an idea, and this idea was for NCR, basically New Delhi and around area, capital area. There are a lot of vendors which sell sugarcane juice, typically in the hot months, and most of them operates the diesel operated machines, and those machines are continuously on and throwing soot in the air, which leads to the pollution on the road. So then Nitin started thinking that, can I have a machine which can work which has a battery operated thing? Looks a simple concept. Nitin approached for the funding. He got a funding of around 9.5 lakh rupees, and he pitched it at Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore, and he got he was incubatee of Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore, and obviously he was supposed to develop a model. Being a lawyer, he does not have a hands-on experience how to do these things. And Nitin approached us at Vijnana Ashram. He came for a very different things, and then we started project became Vijnana Ashram project, and we developed a sugarcane juicing juice machine for that. There were a couple of ideas which Nitin floated to us, saying that he doesn't want to add ice cubes in the machine because most of the time ice is infected and that leads to the infection. The second thing which when we said that there was only 3 months to deliver the machine and show it at the show the proof of concept at an Institute of Science, and we said that we cannot do that, so let's buy a ready-made machine which operates on a DC. We got a ready-made machine from Gujarat. Day one, the machine went bad. The gearbox cranked off, and then when we talked to the manufacturer saying that machine is delivered to you, he got his money and he just threw his hands up. Then started a mechanical engineering project. First thing is to fix a gearbox. Then we realized that what is the torque required to take a or torque, and hence the pressure required to apply on a sugar cane. And we realized that the pressure applied is far more than what is required. So what we can do is we can increase the RPM so that the throughput can go up. And we started working on the gear mechanism itself. We increased the throughput of the machine. Why we have to do that? This is not required for the AC machines, because AC machines directly take energy from the plug. When you have a battery operated machine, then the battery size keeps changing. If the torque is high, if you are not if your machine is over designed, then obviously it uses much more energy than required. And when it uses much more energy than required, then the battery size goes up. As the battery size goes up, the cost of the whole unit goes up, because the battery is a major cost contributor to the whole machine setup. And hence we went back, we started looking at the literature, what is the torque required, and then we started looking at how do you change the torque, and the machine throughput went 3 times. That means the battery becomes 1/3 of the original. So these are the different concepts which we learn. And again, this machine, Nitin, it was Nitin Krishnan's idea. So we worked with him. We demonstrated the machine. Mahesh went to Indian Institute of Science and demonstrated it working completely, and we got the second level fund development for the development. So far, I explained you 3-4 ideas which are still in a pipeline, where you don't see entrepreneur coming out of it. You see in some cases you don't see the concept ready. You say that we are still to reach POC. In some cases we said that we have a POC ready, but the entrepreneur is not ready. In case of a dryer, I told you that an entrepreneur has approached us and we have started working with him. And in some cases we are saying that the idea is the concept is ready, but still the product is not been made. This is a different concept where we started working with a home composter. This is the idea where you generate some half a kg to 1 kg of a kitchen waste every day, and how do we treat it at your place itself within your own flat? And that's where the whole concept started. And we did the project went took it was a sort of a relay race, where when some one boy or one student has done work for 3 months, 4 months, or 6 months at its maximum, and then found out something or developed a prototype to some level, and he said that this fails for so and so reason, and then the whole project was running for more than 3 years, and at least 8 to 10 students work on them. The last hit came by Akshay Sawant, and Akshay Sawant came with the idea of a hexagonal composter with a lead which slides in and out, and then you can have mesh on the 5 sides. Out of the 6, the 5 sides are mesh, or you can have mesh in the 3 sides, or you can mesh only on the 2 sides of the hexagon, where you say the home composter is written. So all that is been done by Akshay. we approached for CSR fund. We got a fund for around 50 such units. We made 50 units at Vidyan Ashram. Akshay and a team had sold out 50 units to 50 different customers. We had phone numbers and we did a follow up with them. At least 12 to 15 of them used this composter and gave us a feedback where it goes right and where it goes wrong. And there were different models. Some of the models were tested in Mumbai, where it is hot and humid like Kerala. And some of the models were tested in places like Pune and Nashik, where it is a much comfortable temperament, and then it was tested somewhere in the Vidarbha where it is very hot and dry. So getting that feedback, we say that we are now ready with the concept. And the way I'm telling you, last 3 4 project, this was also sitting with us saying that proof of concept is ready and we are looking for the entrepreneur to approach us, and nobody was approaching. And it was the days of Corona, and Sunil Bondge, who is our old friend, said that, look, I have a problem in disposing my own garbage. And he used to work on the garbage management at different municipal councils within Pune and Maharashtra, nearby Pune and Maharashtra. And he said that I have a problem myself. And I told him that, why don't you use this composter? And he said that, will this work? A 30 liter capacity, a small drum. How long it will take? I said it will eat your garbage for 30 days. 30 liters capacity and 30 days of your waste will be consumed and you will get a compost. Will it smell? I said, use it and see it smells or not. And he was very skeptical about the whole concept and its microbiology. Everything was he was skeptical. After using it for 1.5 months, typically in the Corona second phase, he realized that this is a great concept. And Sunil Bondge and his son Sadhva both turned their business. They used to work with a big municipalities and municipal bodies to manage tons of waste. And they said, let's look this is a different business. Can we sell the home composter? And now Axie is doing this business. Last month they got their company evaluated for that. Their valuation came to be 44 crores. They are selling around 3,000 composter per year. So that's a good number. Their main business model is home composters now, and they are exporting it to Middle East, and they are exporting into the different part of the country within India. And now they are looking for the different models. They want to have a low cost model. They want to have a stainless steel model. They want to have a model which can be collapsed, which can be self assisted, because they get orders from the different part of the countries and even for abroad. So sending a drum which is this big, a 30-liter bucket sort of thing, becomes a very clumsy thing. So how do we do that? And then came a second business with that, saying that they need a culture continuously. So supply of a culture, at least one time supply of a culture, is another small business setup which came out with that, and both have been handled by Sidhwa, by Bondge family, and this became their bread earner for last 2 years. So here I can show you the concept started at Vijnan Ashram, and I can tell you a lot many things about it, how composting works, how CN ratio works, how the moisture works, how the aeration works, what is the size of the cutting measure, how the baffles works. We can talk about technicalities of this product to a great depth. That was all the learning experience which student got, but at the end of it, Bundge are doing something very, very different. Okay, so this is where I am trying to take you to an entrepreneur. Now, this is the another entrepreneur which we are going to talk to you. You can see a young man, a very thin young man standing here with a blue shirt of Vijnan Ashram. And here is a CEO of Saswad Municipal Council. And here is the starting the here where the story started. We started working on the composting. We ourselves learned the nitty-gritties of the composting. We said that we can do composting. We perfectly know how the composting should be done. And now we don't want to play with 20 kgs of a composting to be done at a Vijnana Ashram campus. We want to demonstrate it in the field. And since we know somebody who is working on the in the area of waste management at a municipal council level, we approached them and they introduced us to this man, a CEO of Saswad Municipal Council, and then we went to them and they had 3 machines of this time. You can see these green machines. One which can compost 800 kgs of a waste per day. Second was 1000 kgs of a waste, and third was 1200 kgs of the waste. Each machine cost them something like 8, 12, 10 and 12 crore, 12 lakhs or something of that size. 12 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, and 8 lakh rupees. And they were already purchased, and only one of them was operational. And the way they used to do composting, they used to dump 800 kgs of the waste in that. It used to rotate whole day. The motor was 6 HP motor. So 6 HP motor used to run for 24 hours. That was the consumption of electricity for rotation. Plus they have heaters around it, and that used to heat the whole system to 75 degrees centigrade. And when you charge 800 kgs of a waste in a composter, it has around 700 to 720 kgs of water, and all that water used to evaporate out, and everything used to get semi-charred. And what we used to get is a semi-charred dried material. It was not compost. You cannot say it as a compost because above 72 degrees, which is a pasteurization temperature, nothing works. No microbial activities can happen there. And then this is my student Meghraj. Meghraj did work at Vijnana Ashram, and Meghraj was at Saswad, and he demonstrated the whole process. And we said that we'll operate your machine, but we'll operate it the way we want it. And then we said that within 8 hours, every 2 hours for 5 minutes. So 4 times we rotate machine for 5 minutes. So 20 minutes of a rotation. So 6 HP motor is now working only for 20 minutes instead of 24 hours. Heaters completely off. No heating required. And when we used to take off the waste material from that machine out, it used to have almost initially, if it has 80% of the water there, now it has 75 or 77% of the water, which is still intact. But the temperature of the whole system used to move from room temperature to something close to 55 to 60 degrees centigrade. And then we used to make the piles of that and have those piles on the ground. And the composting used to take its own passive sweet ways of 20 days. And after 21 days, after 3 weeks, your compost is ready. So you use machine for 20 minutes of operation. The storage drum was used for 24 hours, and then a pile is been taken. This was a very, very effective way of composting, and fortunately for us, people from the Mantralaya, what we call it, uh, from the state government, they visited and they said that the Saswad Municipal Council was faced for an audit, and they showed that this is the way they are managing waste, and then the compost was tested, and they got awarded with a green compost award for that particular year. And Meghraj and Vijnana Ashram, we did most of the work. Then this man approached us saying that we want to do a sanitary napkin collection and a disposal in a proper way, and we developed this can where Siddesh started working on. Now this connects to the Siddesh entrepreneurship entrepreneur. When Siddesh was working with us, he realized that this is a compost which is enriched in carbon. This is a compost which is enriched in potassium, nitrogen, NPK, whatever we call it, a phosphorus, and this got a very easily we could get the certificate for the green compost. And so they started thinking that then how my soil is working on that. What is the soil organic carbon? What is the condition of my soil? Which fertilizers am I using? What my fellow farmers are using it? And he realized that we are spoiling our our soil, and then we are paying through our nose for the fertilizers. And then he went to something called as organic farming and came up with a very great idea, and an NGO called as Agro Ranger. He's a couple of kilometers away from Vijnana Ashram, and Siddesh has been selected as United Nations Soil Hero for year 2006, no, not 16, this is 26, 24. So 2024, and there were 10 land heroes were been selected. Siddesh was the only one from India, and he became an ambassador for soil management within India. And now he has Agro Ranger as a company which works on an agroforestry model, and they have a very successful implementation with couple of farmers. So entrepreneur started this journey started with Meghraj. This was continued at Sasford for a very different project by Siddesh. Siddesh learned all these two things together. He also connected his own farmland with that and a problem related to that, and came out with a very different model called as agroforestry, and became a mm, land hero for year 2022 for United Nations. So that's how our success story is. But this is another story which is going on, and I can tell you a little more about it. When we started working on the composting, what we realized, I tell you, when you have a solution, then you realize the problems within the solution. When we started working on the compost, we had compost both at Rajguru Nagar or at Saswad, and when we realized that when if you are ready to sell it off at no cost, at zero cost, that is not a sell, that's a donation. Even there are issues, and our farmers are not ready to pick up. Why they are not ready to pick up? The reason being the bulk density of this compost is very low, so a big truckload can carry a couple of quintals, and that becomes difficult. The same fertilizer can be carried, same NPK can be carried on the back of his motorcycle without having a truck and without paying so much for it. So it becomes very troublesome for him to buy this type of a compost. So there is no buyer for the compost. Then how do you fetch money from the West? One thing is those who generate waste should pay for it, and there is all and people always I don't know, but many municipal bodies pay rupees 1 to rupees 3.5 per kg of waste being treated. So that is one source of revenue. But then the waste is not waste. There is something which is useful, because 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 uh, because pigs can eat it, because sheep can eat it, because chicken can eat it, and there are a lot many issues. There is a lot of protein there. There is a lot of fats there. There is a lot of food value there. And since there is a food value, there is a tremendous microbial growth there, which leads to the stinking of the piles. So there is definitely food. How you retrieve that food, and then we stuck on the concept called BSF, Black Soldier Fly, and then we started working on it. And Mahesh Shinde, who worked on this concept, I can tell you the concept where these are the flies, where you can see these flies sitting on the net. These flies are Black Soldier flies. They have a lifetime of, as an adult insect, they have a life cycle of 7 days. Within these 7 days, these flies do not eat anything, so they do not pollute your atmosphere. They do not enter your houses. They do not sit on your food, and they do not spray diseases, because they have no reason to get into your houses and to your food, because they don't eat at all. They drink little bit of water and survive for 7 days. Within these 7 days, they lay eggs. Once the eggs are laid, the eggs are very small. The one egg will weigh something like 20 micrograms, which is 20 into 10 raised to minus 6 grams. And these egg clusters can be collected together. They hatch within next 5 to 6 days. That leads to a larva which is smaller than 20 microgram. These larvae starts eating, and within next 5 days they grow to 1 milligram. That is almost 500 times the weight gain of the original at the birth time. And within next 10 days, this 1 milligram larva can grow up to 350 to 400 milligrams, and they eat almost all type of waste, and they prefer the waste which is rich in the nutrient value, and this is the waste which is also preferred by the microbes. And if there is a competition, then larvae finish it faster than the microbes can attack them, and hence the microbial attack goes down, and hence the stinking piles are not stinking anymore. That's where the beauty is. And once the larva grows, they grow something like this, and you can see the figure here. These are the larvas here, and these larvas have 50% water or 60% water, but remaining dry biomass. That means water-free insect biomass. If you look at that, it has 40% protein and around 35 to 40% fat, which has a nutritional value close to a cashew nut. So it's a rich food. Now harvest these larvae from the pile and then feed it to the chicken, and this chicken can lay eggs next day, and then you have your garbage back to your plate within 18 days. That's a marvelous concept which one can work on, and Mahesh took up that challenge. He has set up his incubation chamber right in Vijnan Ashram. Now he's working with a nearby Gram Panchayat, nearby Chakan in the industrial hub uh, in outskirts of Pune, and he's processing around 4 metric tons of garbage every day, and getting around 400 to 500 kgs of the larva which can be which are being used as a poultry as a chicken feed. Now we are in the process of getting few more value-added products. Lot many things have been developed. A technology for the breeding chamber has been developed. A separator has been developed. Then now we are in the process of drying this larva. So a dryer is in the process of being developed. We and I also told you that we are in the process of drying development, and we also have found out an entrepreneur there. Then we want to extract this oil, because too much of oil might be troublesome to the chicken. Typically, layer chicken or a boiler chicken, which are confined to 1 cubic feet area. So those cannot consume such a high level of a fat. So we need to defat these larvae to a certain extent. So drying, defatting, and then there are a lot of businesses which can come out, and Mahesh is working on that. He's an entrepreneur today. He got a CSR funding from Scheffler. His funding is close to 1 crore and 10 lakh rupees for next 2 years. So he has 60 lakh rupees on an average available for next 2 years. And with that, Mahesh will build his own business of a garbage management. He's working with Trambakeshwar Municipal Council today now, and he is also in touch with the Rajguru Municipal Council, which now are ready to pay him 2 rupees per kg of a waste bin treated. So he might get 3 to 4 rupees per kg of a wet waste being treated. And he also started working on the dry waste treatment, where he has a pelletization machine, and he makes the pellet and sells this pellet to Thermax in Pune, where he gets another margin of 3 to 5 rupees per kg of a pellet being manufactured. So all the waste, around 3,000 to 3,500 kgs of a waste being collected at Savardari Gram Panchayat, is been converted to the resources, and Mahesh has a business to run on this. This is another entrepreneur who is in the business of tea. What's time?
It's 8 and we have till 8:30.
We have till 8:30. So I will take another 10 or 15 minutes to explain a couple of slides which I have to finish. And then if there are questions in between also, we can take it, or we can take it at the end. So tea making machine, this man came up with us. He is an entrepreneur. There is a family business which is run in Jalgaon and Dhule district of Maharashtra, North Maharashtra we call it. And they have the major shareholder in the tea powder being sold in those two in different outlets in these two. So around 50% to 60% shareholding they have in these two districts. And now Tushar is wanted to go do something different. Tushar feels that he wants to sell his tea more. And then he says that there is the tea available from the machines. There are tea vending machines available at different places, and the vending tea machine gives you a tea which is far different than the tea which you get from the homemade tea. And why the homemade tea is different than the machine tea? There where Tushar started getting into the chemistry of it and into the food technology of it. Tushar himself is
Chemical
a
engineer.
chemical engineer or a technologist from ICT Mumbai, and he joined Vidyan Ashram for Fab Academy, and he now we started working on that, and then came the concept where the tea fragments get lost. Why and then the kitchen में ज़्यादा महक है. Kitchen is more producing more fragrance than a cup of tea is producing. Then why that happens? Then we went into the different things, that what is that fragrance? What are those chemicals? Are they steam volatile? Typical chemical engineering and chemistry things. How do you arrest it? Can we have a condenser? How long it takes to take to heat? What type of the systems we need to bear? Which masalas are put into that? Is it the ginger which makes, or is it the lemon tea, and or is it the elaichi? And how do, and then we get into the different problems. Tushar came and stayed at Vidyan Ashram for almost 8 to 10 days, and we developed a protocol how to make a good tea at machine. We did lot many different things. We had a under pressure, in a pressure cooker we make tea. Under a condenser, and a typical condenser setup which you see in a chemistry lab, we have made tea. And then ultimately we came up with a protocol saying that this is the protocol we want to have. And now Tushar and with his friend Shubham, also a student of Vidyan Ashram, rather my first student of DIC, developed this machine, and this machine was on demo on our open day on 30th July, and people were asking him, Tushar, why don't you sell your powder? Your tea is very tasty. So he has much more demand for his tea powder because of the machine tea. And there were people asking Tushar the second thing, why don't you sell us the machine? And Tushar has a very different idea. He wants to have a machine installed at a different industrial premises or small setups, so that you can make a consistent good tea without much of a human intervention. So you just press a button, and within the next 5 or 7 minutes, you just start filling your cup of a tea. And that's what is Tushar and Shubham are doing together. And this will soon be a very good entrepreneurship business in couple of days to come. I think I talked to many people about this. The only remaining person is Dhananjay Abhang. I talked about Mahesh, and I told you how the garbage management is done, garbage and BSF is done. I talked about Sunil Bhonge and a home composter and evaluation of his company, and how how he learned with us, and we learned with him. We talked about Tushar about a team making, and I can tell you that there are at least another half dozen of entrepreneurs who are technology based entrepreneur developed at Vidyan Ashram, and we also keep getting people to us saying that these are the problems, and why don't you solve our problems, and how do we solve this problem. I will just end my talk talking about Dhananjay Abhang. Dhananjay Abhang came to us saying that I want to do a business. He had no idea what business he should be getting into. And then Yogesh Kulkarni, our director, had a word with him, and then somehow Yogesh Kulkarni and Dhananjay zeroed down on biogas. And when Dhananjay zeroed down on the biogas, we started working together. The journey started with a biogas understanding what is the chemistry of biogas, what is the microbiology of a biogas, why the predigesters are required, which processes are really anaerobic, which processes are aerobic, and all the different stuff about it. And then came the chemical engineering, not chemical engineering, mechanical engineering part of it is how do you design a digester? How do you design a digester which can go on the back of a motorcycle and installed at the place within couple of hours? And now Dhananjay has Dhananjay and his employee Amol Khamkar has developed these type of a digester which you just pack in a small bag, carry it on your motorcycle back and install it 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, or you ship it with a courier at some place, and then a person can take it from that courier agency to his farm just on his own two-wheeler, and then our installation person reaches his farm and install his biogas at that particular case. Amol Khamkar has developed this technology. Dhananjay is operating that. Both Dhananjay and Amol are students of Vidyan Ashram. This is Dhananjay has around 29 people employed in his firm. He is doing business for a biogas. Now Dhananjay is talking different thing. Now Dhananjay is talking about CNG. Nitin Gadkari is talking about CNG, and hence Dhananjay is also talking CNG. Dhananjay started with a biogas which is gobar gas. Now Dhananjay work in the area of a waste management typical some of the hotels approach him. Initially, we had a lot of problems and a lot of issues because there was a disturbance. Dhananjay has developed a monitoring system which is person independent, which tells him the pH of a biogas digester, and that too IoT base. And then he knows that there is something going on, and he calls that person saying that you are adding too much of a food in your biogas. Just stop it, otherwise your biogas will go acidic. And if it goes acidic, it will not produce biogas, and then and then add some lime to that so that it will get corrected. So now he gets the signal from the different biogas systems, and he gives them remedy before the biogas stop functioning, and that's how his biogas working on the hotel waste became functional. Now he is in a very different area of a Napier grass. Napier grass, you can grow Napier grass, a very good C4 plant, which has a lot of a green mass being produced per per hectare. And once you produce that, cut it down, chop it down, put it in a biogas reactor, get a biogas out of it, convert it to CNG. So the next leap for Dhananjay will be converting biogas to bio CNG and filling it into the cars and motors and running the motors based on the Napier which is in the farm. And Dhananjay and Amol are on the task of doing that. So I have told you the stories of we have. I can tell you three or four of Kalyanis. Two Kalyanis are the ones which are working on the food technologies, and I had set up Kalyani is also exporting her food products. We also have Ruchita, Rujuta, who has set up her business for food products. Then there was a Pooja, another entrepreneur who worked with us only for 15 days to 3 weeks and set up her business. There are a couple of entrepreneurs. Some of them are Me Too. Some of them, like when you are doing a noodle business, it's a Me Too business. Okay, when you are doing a conventional Tamil food business, then it's bit of a non-conventional business. And when people are asking you that this is too oily, can you reduce oil, and you find out a method where you can have partial drying followed by frying, which leads to much less oil, 50% less oil, and with the same crunchiness, that becomes a very totally different product of the similar crunchiness and taste, but low on the fat. So there are very interesting things which can come out when an entrepreneur starts with technology, science, and hands-on experience to do things. I don't want to tell you much. We have developed 7 to 8 entrepreneurs, 6 of our students. How many of them have gone to private jobs? And this is a story of DIC, which I told you. These are our students' blog. The blue font at the bottom. You can visit these blogs. You can find out how our students document their things. I don't claim that documentation is done in the perfect way, but many of them got their job, they got selected on their job just because of this blog. Once they start showing that this is a blog which is running through, this is what I did. And when somebody start talking about somebody who has worked on a dryer talks about very fundamental about relative humidity and specific humidity and latent heat and specific heat and heat transfer, he or she easily cracks that interview and get into the job. So that's how I could show you that 100 of my students got their job selected just immediately after Vijnana Ashram 6 months internship is been done. So this is what I had to present from Vijnana Ashram. Why am I presenting all this to you? Is because this is, I just wanted to tell you that start your entrepreneurship journey right now. Don't wait for your degree to be completed, because once your degree is completed, you are already 2022. And by the time 22, your parents will start pressurizing you to get to a job. And you will see that, no, I want to get into the job. Or they are ready to push you to a higher studies. I am not saying that anything is good or bad. But I am trying to tell you that if you have your concept, or at least if you have an understanding of which area of the entrepreneurship you are going to pursue in next 2 to 3 years, then you can have your own startup. Gone are the days when people used to look for the government job. If you are aiming for the government job, let me tell you, that's not the future jobs are. Private industry is getting into the atomization very fast. And that's the way to go. Everybody, and I work for a private industry, and last 30 years I'm employed with a multinational working in the areas of chemicals, specialty chemicals, and polymers. And every single time what we try to do is come down on the working force. Let's not employ people. Let's invest in the machines. So the employment on the private sector will also keep going down. So it's the small sector industry, it's the small entrepreneurs which will keep you employed. And that you, instead of becoming a job seeker, you have to become a job creator. And if you create job the way Dhananjay has created for 30 people, the way Kalyani has created for around 15 people, or the way Siddhesh has created, his team is around 15 people, and Mahesh is in the process of employed and has already employed 6 people. So this is where the things can change, and this can don't try to copy technology. Trying to trying to copy technology can be a very serious problem. The way we let me go to that slide. Okay, BRC can keep telling you that technology is ready. Technology is half cooked. Technology is just at the conceptual level. You don't have even a proof of concept working. Forget about the product to be pushed in the market. You need to invest and understand lot many things before you start marketing and doing it. So don't waste your time uh, if you want to be entrepreneur. And I believe that is the way to go. Many of you must be working in the areas of software. What I keep hearing, I have no direct proof, but what I keep hearing is AI is eating lot many jobs, and lot many layoffs are being given by the software companies. So be aware of that where are the jobs. And very recently, the director of Niti Aayog, the chairman of Niti Aayog has said that you will have a lot of engineers in the country and they will have absolutely no jobs in their hands. What a country needs in next 10 to 15 years is fitters, plumbers, electricians, so on and so forth. And that what we are on. I leave it open for the questions. I'm putting my mic.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very insightful session, seeing all the innovations and your talk. So we have got a few questions. Let's move on to our Q&A session. I invite Miss Anjana to moderate the Q&A session. Over to you, Anjana.
Good evening, sir. So one of the question was that how long does it take for an idea to become a concept and then into an innovation? Sir, your mic is off.
My mic is, yeah, you were not audible. So
Okay, sir.
can you repeat the question?
Sure, sir. How long does it take for an idea to become a concept and then into an innovation?
Uh, if you are a good engineer, let me tell you, and that's a comma into inverted commas. If you are a good engineer and ready to work in the areas which you see, you see a task and ready to work on a task. The way I have said open here that I'm ready to work on the entomology, insect science, and I'm also ready to work on the electrical engineering, and I'm also ready to work on the thermodynamics. If you are open to learn in the interdisciplinary area, and if you are a good engineer, then it takes 3 to 6 months from concept to a POC, proof of concept. Minimum 3 months, maximum could be anything, but 6 to 9 months is a very reasonable time.
Okay, sir. The next question is that does Vigyan Ashram provide financial support to these innovators?
We do support financial. We have an incubation center. We do support financial assistance. Typically, when you are doing a prototype, and a prototype is if your prototype or idea is aligned to the social sector. Okay. Now, if somebody comes to me saying that I want to make the perfect wine, then I say that that's not Vijnana Ashram's mandate. Okay. What we look at is it should be a grassroots problem. It should not be a problem which you are trying to solve for the elites. That is the first definition. So it should be you should be working at the bottom of the pyramid. You are trying to solve a problem of a middle class or lower middle class, or to the bottom part of the pyramid. Then we do support you also for the raw material investment, for the material which you purchase, and that becomes a Vijnana Ashram project. That doesn't remain your project. That becomes a Vijnana Ashram project, and we definitely supply you. We definitely support you for the materials. Other than that, what we do is we provide you a support, financial support to be alive. So we have a scholarships for such programs, and we pay 15,000 rupees of a scholarship, wherein you can stay in Vijnana Ashram, manage your food and stay, and can still save around 5 to 7,000 rupees as your pocket money or for your family. Have I answered the question?
Yes, sir. Sir, what is the application process of this?
Right. Please write a mail. I will go to the last slide. Okay. I don't know. The slides are not changing.
No.
Yeah, this is the last slide. You can write to VADIC coordinator at gmail.com, or you can phone at 9322102412. If not all that, just if you can remember Vijnana Ashram, go to our website. You will get the details. Our email address, other than DIC, is VA. V stands for Vijnana Ashram. V stands for Vijnan. A stands for Ashram. Pabal. Pabal is the place where we are located. So VA Pabal at gmail.com is our email address. Shoot a email. Our director Yogesh Kulkarni gets that email, and he pass it on to me or Shreyas, who work with you closely. Just shoot an email, call us. We generally talk to you. We generally offer you to come to the site, stay with us for a couple of days, understand Vijnana Ashram, and then take your call.
Thank you, sir.
Anything more?
Thank you for answering the questions, sir. These are the questions we have received till now.
Okay.
So we'll conclude, sir.
So we conclude here. Thanks a lot for giving us opportunity to talk somebody in Kerala. I know we call it as the land of God, and I visited Kerala a couple of times. Uh, One of my very close friend, Vinod Nair, is from Kerala. I visited his place, Chalkudi, there at least 3-4 times, and love to visit Kerala. Uh, I know the most learned state in the country, most to me the most cultured state in the country, and talking to youngsters and Gen Z from that particular area is a privilege to me, and connecting to the you people have made a big demonstration or change, or you have shaken the central government, and I know Modi is talking a different language than he used to talk a couple of weeks back, and those are the Gen Zs to whom I got a chance to talk. uh, what has been done at Jantar Mantar was correction of a examination system or a test system. And what I'm talking to you is a educational system. It's not examination system. We don't take exams. Vidyan Ashram operates on a different learning methodology. We don't conduct exam. Jantar Mantar was about neat and conducting exam in a flawless way. Okay. And Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation was for a total different reason. But then what is more fundamental than exam pattern is educational system, and that what I was trying to demonstrate. I was trying to talk to you for last 1.5 year and hour, and thanks a lot for giving me that chance. Bye.
So please don't leave. We'll officially conclude.
Bye.
No, sir. Hello, sir. So as we come to the end of today's webinar, we would like to express our gratitude to our speaker and all the participants. I invite Ms. Gauri to deliver the vote of thanks.
Hello, good evening, everyone. As we come to the end of this wonderful webinar on innovation and entrepreneurship organized by ATMA Foundation, it is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Arun Dixit, Head of the Design Innovation Center, for taking the time to be with us today and for sharing his valuable knowledge and experiences with us. Sir, your insights into innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship have given us a broader perspective on how ideas can be transformed into meaningful solutions. Your session has encouraged us to think differently, identify opportunities, and look at the challenges from an innovative perspective. Thank you, sir, for making this session so informative and inspiring. I would also like to express our sincere gratitude to Mr. C.K. Suresh, founder director of ATMA Foundation, for his constant support and encouragement in creating meaningful platforms like this for young minds. Special thanks goes to the entire organizing and technical team of ATMA who worked behind the scenes to coordinate this program. Most importantly, I would like to thank all the participants for joining us today and for being an active part of this webinar. Your presence and enthusiasm have contributed greatly to the success of this program. Once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all for making this webinar a meaningful and memorable one. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening.
So to the audience who are watching from YouTube, so those who wish to receive e-certificate, please scan this QR code and fill the form. So you will receive the e-certificate by your mail. Thank you, sir.